Hey guys, Sally here. I'm here with Red and David, and I've had some people ask me for some context on the Causeway picture that I took from the 15th floor of 3 Lakeways Center Marriott Hotel. Uh, it is kind of hard to just look at that picture and know exactly what you're looking at, so I put together a little bit of something in Google Earth. I did a Google Earth tour, and I want to show you guys that. And in the meantime, Red or David, would you mind like putting your eye on the public chat, and just in case anybody has questions coming out of there?
Sure.
Yeah, I got it up.
All right, cool. I'm not going to really have a chance to look at it while I'm doing this, but afterwards I'll take a look. And let me share my screen.
So far we've got Factard, John Michelson, M. Scott Veach.
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. So this is the image that I took from 3 Lakeway Center, 15th floor. This was Jesse's hotel room. I have some video too. Of course, you've probably seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I put in a couple of different videos that I made, but a lot of people are asking me questions about how far the huts are, how far these humps are. I've covered all this before, but I figured putting it in one place would be real easy to link people to it in the future. And also, people were asking me what this is right here. I am sharing my screen, right?
Yeah, that's Planet Nibiru, isn't it?
Yes, that's Nibiru. There, let me make sure I'm presenting too. Okay, so there we go. And this is a water tower right here, which I'll show you in a second. This is called the Marine Span. It's at 8 miles. This is called a Marine Hump, which is at 4 miles. And this water tower is actually a couple miles past the Causeway. And there's also the Bascule, which is, there's another bridge right here, another hump, big hump like this back here. This is the Bascule, which is where the taller bridges and the crane bridges that actually work on the Causeway pass through. And there's actually another marine hump back here, which you can't see because it's being blocked by these huts. These things that stick out in the side here are called the fender system. They're basically just keep boats from running into the bridge whenever they pass through. And so that gives you a broad context. But I also put together this this tour here. Hold on, let me actually find an empty screen so I can reload the tour. Here we go. And back to Google Earth. Okay. So this is the tour here that I've put together. You can see I've also marked out the transmission lines, but that's another day. And this is the Causeway right here that I've marked each of the huts, and I've also put a red line.
Factard saying he can't hear us.
He can't hear us at all?
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't hear a thing.
Really?
I just unmuted it. Its audio's coming through. It's on his end.
Okay. Sorry, Factard. You're going to have to figure out what's going on with your headset. But I put a line here. This red line right here is tracking the southbound lane. And this red line right here is lining up all the huts, which you'll see here in a second. So just keep an eye on that whenever we're going through the tour here. Mm-hmm. I'm basically going to go through the tour and show that each one of these huts is in fact in line. And they're actually more in line than the transmission lines, and the transmission lines are in line. But it's actually pretty amazing. Like whoever did this, whoever put together the Causeway did a very good job engineering-wise. 3 Lakeway Center, this is where I took the shot from. And we're just going to go out to each of these huts. So again, like I said, what I did was I actually took that red line and connected hut 1 with hut 19, which is the last one. And then I just marked each of the huts on top of that line. And you can see pretty clearly, I think, that they are all, in fact, in line. I'll speed this up a little bit because it is 19. But each of these huts, there is a little bit of variation, but each of the huts are about a mile apart from each other. Actually 1.2 miles about apart from each other. And there is some variation in there, so it's not exactly 1.2 miles. There's actually a couple that are closer because of how they're oriented around the causeway, the marine span, and the bascule. Those huts are a little bit closer to each other for some reason. Not sure why. They might be because they placed them by road distance or something. I don't know. I have no idea why they did it that way. So there's hut 17 and hut 18. I'll slow it back down. Here's hut 19. And then from here, we're going to go to the water tower that's in the background. You can see how much further back the water tower is, way back there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's a heck of a lot taller too, right?
Oh yeah, it's tall.
Yeah.
It's very tall. So back at the Marriott here, I'm going to pan up to where you can see basically the angle that I took the shot from.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can already see that it's curving if you look at this in Google Earth. But if we zoom in, which you can do on Google Earth, you can definitely make out the curve. So that's as far as you can zoom in with Google Earth. But you can clearly see that this red line is, in fact, curving over the horizon right there. So back to the picture. That's what it looks like. And also, if you want to actually compare this to Walter Bislin's models, I highly suggest you do it. Walter Bislin has a great page that I've brought up many times because it's really that good.
Yeah, I've seen his models. They're amazing.
Yeah, so go check that out. It's really a good one. He just put together another blog article actually called it's basically about people that are saying it looks too curved. And so what he did was he built just a sphere the size of the globe and shows you like what it looks like with perspective. This is what you should expect whenever you're looking at a globe and dealing with perspective. It's going to look like that. It's going to look very curved. So this is even at 10 kilometers. So you're talking about, even that's still higher than normal. We put this at 50 millimeters, which is what our eyes are around 50 millimeters.
Well, I think a lot with that picture, I think a lot of people aren't taking into account that that's zoomed through a theodolite.
No, zoom through a telescope.
Or a telescope, yeah. I mean, I thought it was the theodolite, but there's a couple of them through a theodolite with the little Tensis Bayou.
Yeah,
and
those are Teslas.
It changes a lot of how much curve you're going to see when you zoom it like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you can tell right here, just looking at these huts, they start getting closer together just on hut number 4 right here. So that's what perspective does. The distance between objects gets shorter and shorter and shorter further away they are just due to perspective, and which results in this. And a lot of people were asking me kindly for context, but there were also, of course, the naysayers that were saying it's too curved, which is ridiculous whenever you look at Walter's models, which predict this observation. But there's also the naysayers that say it's fake, which can be discounted right off because you can simply go to the Marriott and take this picture. And it really is something that, unless you look at it a lot, it's foreign the first time you see something at that high of a magnification and see perspective playing on the curve. but I mean that's reality. And another thing I want to point out is a lot of people talk about lens compression. It's misnamed. I don't know why anybody ever started referring to it as lens compression, because it has nothing to do with the lens. It's perspective compression. Is really what it is. You're looking at compression due to perspective, and the lens just magnifies it enough for you to be able to photograph it and see it. And you can see the same thing through a rifle scope, really.
Absolutely.
To just wrap your head around that whole thing, when you're driving on that, each one of those signs is a tenth of a mile apart. Those little tiny signs to the side of the road, that's a tenth of a mile.
Yep.
And when you're driving over that thing that looks like a huge hill in the middle,
right,
that's a gentle rise and a gentle fall while you're driving on it.
Right.
Because I've driven on that causeway before on the way down to Florida from Colorado.
Yep. For sure. It definitely looks compressed because of perspective. But like David said, this is not that steep. It's not a roller coaster ride whenever you drive across it, which is what it kind of looks like in this picture.
Looks even more so when you look at some of your time-lapse videos.
Oh, yeah, exactly. When the cars are driving over the top of it.
Wow. I don't know. I really like this Walter Bislin thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just fiddling with it. This is really cool.
Let me see.
I think a lot of the flat earthers should definitely use this.
I knew that was your voice, Lewis. Lewis has joined us. Thank you.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to use that. I'm going to be using that.
Walter's thing is awesome, man. And he's got not just the stuff that, I did. Obviously, he put a lot of work into this Causeway one right here. This Causeway.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
The Causeway one that he did right here, I was just like blown away whenever I saw it, because he went into Google Earth and basically got all the GPS coordinates and laid everything out the same way. I was like, holy crap, how long did that take?
I really like his split screen model of the flat Earth and the globe Earth with the transmission line, because it actually gives flat earthers an opportunity to see what predictions their model should make that are not accounted for.
Exactly.
Your video with Arwen is amazing. The honesty that came out of him when he tried to change the definition of perspective.
Yeah.
That was just amazing.
Yeah, you can't change your definition. Yeah, I can.
No.
What?
It's hard to argue with that, man.
Yeah.
Words have definitions, man. Can't change that. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. And then when you ask them, well, do you think your words shape reality? They'll be like, no, but then they just change the definition again as soon as you ask them that and confront them with that paradox.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a quote of the day from a flat earther earlier: believing is seeing, and all that. Believing is seeing. Not seeing is believing, but believing is seeing. And I think it was kind of a Freudian slip, because that seems to be the case. They believe it's flat, so then they only can ever see that it's flat due to confirmation bias.
Well, King Crocoduck just put out something today that was about this idea that science has to conform to aesthetics and social, I forget what he calls it, cultural construct. Science is a cultural construct, I think.
A social construct.
A social construct.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
flat earthers seem to have the same idea that it's all arbitrary which model you choose.
Right.
There was a geocentric model. It was wildly inaccurate.
Watch this part of just keep talking, but watch this part of Bislin's thing.
Yeah, I went through all of this. It's astonishing.
I love this. He
really
has a theodolite. He has a theodolite on top of it.
This is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Soundly, you might want to inform people, because I've seen several people post comments in the chat, and particularly flat earthers, asking the question, why can we only see curvature at this location? Referring to Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah. Well, it's a common tactic to just try and they try and discredit the information instead of actually looking at the information. They're trying to discredit it. Is what they're trying to do. They're trying to say that this is a anomaly, but it's not. It's not an anomaly. And
I could do this at Tampa Bay if I wanted to over to Bradenton.
yeah, so there's actually what is it? Salt Lake. No, what is it called? The Salt Flats. Salt Flats.
Yeah.
Utah. Sure. Let's see if we can find it. Here it is. So this is somebody I've never met, have no idea who they are, and they did this video of the Salt Flats, and they went up to a high vantage point and filmed the highway, and there you go. And so it's not just Lake Pontchartrain.
Because what is the Salt Flats but a dry lake bed, basically?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's just that Lake Pontchartrain is a little bit unique in that you do have some definite demarcation that you can actually compare the curvature of the water itself to. If all you have is,
Right.
open, endless seas or ocean, it's really hard to tell.
Right. And that's the thing I've said, if I had the Bill Gates type funding to do something, I would go and get a whole bunch of these lamps and, put them in like waterproof floaty containers and just lay them out one per mile in a grid over the Lake Pontchartrain, and just
That
take
would
a
be
picture
amazing.
because you would see it in the entire surface of the water,
That's a lot of lamps, though, Stanley.
Well, that's what I said. I need Bill Gates to do this, not me.
Yeah, that's so much. I got in a yelling match with Pete Shea earlier today. I told him to just go to the highest elevated point he can and put a level out at his eye level and then look down the length of it, and he's not going to see the horizon coming up to it.
Right.
He's just not. So it's not an anomaly at all.
No.
The only anomaly is the massively complicated structure that is the Causeway.
Well, yeah, I was about to say it is a unique situation in that I have actually a couple different. It's not just two. It's the Causeway. There's also a train track on the east side, which I haven't been able to get to yet because you have to hike through some marshland to get there. But I'm planning on doing it in 2018. I'd like to get a train actually coming over the horizon, which would be great.
That would be.
But there's also the transmission lines, but there's also the Dr. Zach transmission lines, I like to call them, the ones that he used incorrectly.
So
those,
the east to westbound.
Yeah, exactly. Those transmission lines do have that right turn in them, right? Which is why I didn't use them originally, because I wanted to use the other straight ones. Why wouldn't I, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once Dr. Zach put his thing out, I actually went out there with Dandy, and me and him actually kayaked out onto the other side of those transmission lines. And I took photographs of those transmission lines, and they're curving over the horizon against the right turn. So like they're curving down over the horizon, and then they turn to the right. But they curve down over the horizon to the left. They say left. We know it's not left, but they like to say it's turning to the left or whatever. But
another really common comment from people who seem to have actually looked into this, at least the arguments from the flat earthers, is why don't we see the curve on the horizontal? We only see the curve on the vertical, which at first I had no idea what they meant, but apparently they mean, why is it only observable vertically? Why is it we can only see vertically it's actually curving, but it curves in every direction? I mean, I realize how nonsensical the question is, but maybe you can explain to people why it is.
Yeah, so I've actually, I have another photograph where just over here, actually, I might be able to pull that up real quick. Let's do that. Let's see, where's that other photograph?
While you're doing that, I can address another question I hear, or another statement I hear. The horizon always rises to eye level. As an individual who's been to the top of Pikes Peak in Colorado, it's a 14,000 foot mountain I can honestly tell you that you do have to look down to see that horizon.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And
No
it
doubt.
doesn't matter how far east you look, you have to look down. So
right here you see a vertical pole, right?
Yep.
yes.
Okay. So let's go to Google Earth. Let me show you what that is, if I can find it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's go to Hut 19. Okay, so here it is. See this one wind turbine?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that wind turbine right there. And then we have the water tower. Right here. So let's do this. Let's go to Three Lake Way. Drop that one there. Take the water tower. Then let's go back to the wind turbine. Do the same thing. And Three Lake Way. Okay, so now we have sight line to those two things that we can see in the photograph. Let's go back to the wind turbine. Okay. I just created two. No, that's weird. Wind turbine, water tower, same thing. Okay, so if we measure from these two lines, right? If we take a measure from this wind turbine to the sight line of the water tower, right? Then we get a measure of 0.13. Let's put it in kilometers. So 0.22 kilometers. Okay. So let's go back to the photograph. That means that from here to here is 0.22 kilometers. And that is how many pixels? That's X, about 2,100 pixels.
Yeah.
And the full width of the frame is, let's round up to 8,000. So we're talking about 4 of those, or less than 4. Well, I'll give them 4. So we'll say 4. So 4 of those 2,100s, which is 0.22 kilometers. So 4 of those is 0.88 kilometers. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about less than a kilometer from left to right here. Why would you think that you'd see curvature in that?
Right. And whereas the bridge is how long?
Right. Right. This is the 4-mile bascule, right? So we're seeing, so 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're seeing 3.2, right, all the way across to 24 miles. So we're seeing,
Yeah.
roughly 21 miles worth of bridge. So this is 21 miles worth of bridge in the frame versus less than a kilometer.
I think a really intuitive, simple way to think about it is if you're gonna go buy wood from Home Depot or something, you don't set it down on the floor in front of you and look at it out in front of you. You stick one end up to your eye and you look down the length.
Exactly.
So that is why seeing the curvature in line with the causeway is easy to do. But if you were to look at that causeway from out in the middle of the lake on a boat, you wouldn't be able to see that curvature.
Exactly. Let me show you a very good example of this on Metabunk.
So I mean, like Ace McLeod, like you've been out here so long, man. how many times does this have to be explained to you guys?
This is another thing I like to refer people to. You'll see it linked in my descriptions very often. It's a great article that Mick did, and he starts in the comment section down here. He starts talking about if you want to see if a pull cue is straight or not, you look down a pull cue, right? You look down it. So if you look at the pull cue from the top, right, this looks straight. But if you look at it, and if you look at it straight on like this, it looks straight, right? But if you look at it from the side, you can see that it's bowed right there. And he puts together a nice little picture at the bottom down here.
Yeah.
Right here. So there you
That's
go.
fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the Metabunk article that Mick did on the transmission lines when I first started getting some P900 shots with it. And I'm hoping, that I can get him to look at the Causeway stuff too. So
I've been
article.
fiddling with this Walter Bislin website here, and you can get some very cool things to do. I recommend everybody click on the link in the description that Soundly has there.
Right.
You will not be disappointed unless you don't care and don't try.
You go through all of the tabs, look at all of the models. They're amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to though. I think if you're interested, you will. But I think the most important ones are to have the globe model selected, and then you can just look at it. And when you go to look at it, don't look at they have a grid laid out over the whole sphere. Don't look at it in line with it. Make it so that those squares turn into diamonds from your point of view. You can change your pan until that happens, and that makes it much more obvious as you zoom in and out where that curve starts to become apparent.
Yeah. One of the things I pointed out in another video, and I'll bring it up again here. There is a model, WGS84, which is the standard model. I mean, that's the one that Google Earth uses, which it's what pretty much everyone uses right now, as far as this, what we consider the conventional globe. And basically, what Walter has done here is made a simple version of that. He created a sphere, basically with the radius of Earth, and he laid out these models on it. So this is an estimate of what WGS84 would predict, and so this is the model, right? You don't get to argue with that. This is the prediction of the model, and the prediction of this model shows you that this horizon line is straight, or at least appears straight to us at this field of view. And when we're talking about, less than a kilometer. So this is the prediction of our model right here. And this is the validation of that model. So it's really not much to argue about.
Unless you're Arwen. Then believing is seeing.
Right. And the interesting thing is that, flat earthers will admit to the fact that they don't have a model. So if they don't have a model, then they have literally no reason to believe that it's flat. Like, that's literally what that means. If you can't provide a model, then you do not have any rational reason to believe it's flat, because you have nothing to make predictions with.
Agreed.
I think, and if you can't bring yourself to understand why the shape of the Earth is what it is, then don't let that get in the way of your family and loved ones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, and another thing is, if you don't understand it, try to figure out how to understand it instead of saying that everybody who does is wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're incapable of understanding it, then recognize that failure in yourself and move on.
The other thing to point out is that, your eye is about 50 millimeters, which is what I'm showing here. And it looks basically straight, doesn't it? And that's because you can't see, you can't see the curvature. But all those shots they show from, wide angle lenses and very shallow or very short fields of view very small focal lengths. All those shots they showed from drones, for example, of the Causeway, those are predicted by our model. This is our model. It's predicted to look straight. So every time they show that, all they're doing is validating our model. There it is. So anyway, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give some people some context. If anyone wants to have this tour that I have in Google Earth, or if you want these, this stuff, I can export it in KML, and all you got to do is click it. Click the KML. That's what you just saw me do that actually at the beginning of the video. And you can look at it yourself in Google Earth.
Yep. I mean, it's worth pointing out that it takes a great deal of time and effort to set all these presentations up. And I think a lot of the people out here just want to have something to, a group of people to talk to and be friends with, and they don't actually care about the truth, and they're pretending to, and it's sort of a front. But that's not something I can really prove, but it's something that is consistent no matter where you go that people are.
Yep. And if you want to have friends, you can just join us on Discord, and we'll be happy to be friends with you.
That's right.
So anyway, anybody else want to share anything?
That's about it for me.
This is a shot
Yeah.
I took from the North Shore, by the way, with I think this was 50 millimeter, 28 millimeter. Again, it's somewhere. It's one of the shorter millimeters. This is a Causeway over here, and this is the bascule right here. And whoops, this is the bascule right here, and this little square blob right here is the Marriott Hotel.
It's funny how much is not visible.
Yeah, where's the rest of the Causeway? There's a Causeway that goes from here all the way to the Marriott Hotel, which is not visible. And this is New Orleans being obstructed by the horizon. It's really easy, guys. You don't have to have a telephoto either. Just go find a large body of water you can take a picture across, and you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
See, you've inspired me, Soundly. I want to go do this on Tampa Bay. I know Reds already took pictures of ships on Tampa Bay, but not you, Real, but Red's Rhetoric already took pictures on Tampa Bay of ships, but I know there's bridges on Tampa Bay that are just of a similar size. Like I-275 goes from St. Petersburg all the way across. I'm not sure how straight it is, but it goes all the way across over to Bradenton. And I'm quite sure you'd be able to see something very similar to this on it.
Well, there's some places actually in Gulf Shores too that you can look back towards Mobile. You would expect on a flat Earth to be able to see it. I guess I shouldn't have stopped screen sharing. Let me go back to that. But anywhere where there's a large body of water, there's going to be something that you can do to make an observation. But if you look out here, and if you're in Florida, if you're in this area anywhere, basically Gulf Shores, Mobile area, then you have Mobile Bay to work with. And you have a large city over here, Mobile. It's not a large city, but it is a city. It has skyscrapers and tall buildings and stuff. So come out here and take a picture, from here. That's 30 miles, something like that. So you would expect to be able to see it on a flat Earth. I'd be curious to see what you get, because I'd like to do this one day, maybe this summer. I have some tentative plans for the summer, because I'm definitely
I'm down at Tampa, or not Tampa Bay, but St. Petersburg, and I'm looking at this huge bridge of 275, and I don't think it's straight enough to actually work too well, but there might be another one. You look at, there's some good candidates.
Well, you want to see one that Taboo Conspiracy just did recently? He went here. He took a boat, obviously, out to here, and he took a picture from this little sandbar, whatever that is, at this large condominium right here. This one at night. That'd be a good observation to repeat. If you felt like doing it. It's a couple hours away from you, I guess.
Jose J.G. Gonzalez has said in your chat a while ago, about 20 minutes ago, that he's in Tampa and you can look him up whenever he's there. I just thought I'd point that out so that he can't later run back to the FEPAs and say, "Oh, well, I asked him, I'm here." But I mean, Gonzalez, that talking in chat isn't the best way to get someone's attention during.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the chat. I guess I should pull it up.
Yeah,
I was thinking along the lines of this bridge up here or this bridge. There's 3 bridges on my screen here in Old Tampa Bay. Obviously, I don't want to take the middle one because it's got a big
hold on.
drink.
Let me let you share. I'll present you.
Giant curve.
I've had enough airtime. Y'all's turn, please.
Up in Clearwater, where Scientology is king. There's that one that goes across over to Tampa from St. Petersburg and Pinellas over here. Well, there's the Gandhi right there, which does kind of the same thing. This curved one is the one everybody uses, and that's an interstate, which probably isn't a good one to use because it's not straight. It's not, it doesn't.
How far? How long are these bridges?
Oh gosh, I haven't really been using Google Earth too long.
There's a ruler up at the very top of the toolbar, and you can click on one spot and then click on another, and it'll to the very top toolbar. Yeah, you're just a second ago, very top toolbar.
Oh, how do I get rid of this stupid thing? Oh, there we go.
Oh, I'm actually looking at the
show ruler. Okay. So, like from Gandhi. Am I doing this wrong? I'm probably doing this all wrong. I have not used this at all.
You click the ruler, then you click once, and then you click on the second spot you want it on.
Okay. So from I gotcha. So do that in kilometers. That's 10.
Nice. That would definitely show it.
This one up here is 12. So either one of those would probably work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's like literally a couple miles from where I live in St. Petersburg here.
Do it. Get out there.
Yeah. Gotta go buy a camera and I'll be good.
Do it during the winter. The camera I started with was I had a Rebel. I still do Canon Rebel T5, which you can get now secondhand for nothing. And I put a 200 millimeter. It was like an $89 200 millimeter lens I put on it, and as long as it's during the day, you should have no problems. And you'll be able to see it. Like that was my first transmission line photos was with that, and I was easily able to see the curve. So I think the effective focal length though is like 400 millimeters. I think because I have a crop sensor.
Well, you got to use the P900 though.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if you want them to take you seriously,
it's got to be in raw. It's got to be raw. It's got to be raw.
Unfortunately, the P900 doesn't do raw photos, so it only does JPEGs.
Well, that's awful inconvenient.
Or convenient.
Or convenient if you always want to be able to claim that their pictures are fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the P900 has the perfect set of attributes for your flat earthers.
Yeah, they even come with little Photoshop tags.
Heart on my sleeves did say something that I should bring up. She's right. I do have this 24/7 stream that's running. It's been running for about a week now, and maybe longer than that now. Actually, I don't know. But I put it up there because I just couldn't stand that ODD TV just 24/7 streamed their propaganda, and I was like, I've got to do something to combat that. So I set up this channel. Now, it's a lot of my content, and I'd honestly prefer to get content from other debunkers. And as I do have some guys lined up that are I've talked with some, and I have one of Wolfie's videos out there. Sean Hufford said I could use his videos, and there's some other guys that said that I could use some of their videos. So I need to take the time to add some of their videos, take some of my videos down, and I'm trying to keep the stream fresh. But please check it out, and please let other people know about it. Okay.
Stephen Bowman, come check us out in the chat, man. Come have some fun with us, because the chat's live 24/7 as well. So
I've actually had a lot of fun on that. You set that up, Lewis?
Yeah, I've been in there too. It's a lot of fun.
Who set that up? All of a sudden one day I got a link from you, and I was like, "Whoa, look at this!"
The Discord. I believe Gem Panda 2012 is the original creator of that Discord channel.
Nice.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
By the time I found it, I mean, everybody was in there already. It was amazing.
Yeah. You could throw a link in to that in any description you want. Spread the link around.
Well, let me get a link here. How long does the link last? I sent one to Red just a second ago.
You can make it last forever if you want. If you're on the computer with the app.
I'm not on the computer right now. Hold on.
Okay.
I was just going to copy that link that I sent to.
I
Red.
can grab a permanent one if you want.
Yeah. Somebody
grab a permanent one and send a message. David, send a message in the chat, and I will make you I'll give you a wrench.
Okay.
Make you a mod.
Yeah. And that I want to point out again that Walter Bislin Modeling Globe, everybody out there who has ever wondered, and asked the question, how high and far away from the globe do you have to be for you to start to see the curve? Every single aspect of perspective is modeled on that website, and you can do that. It takes a few clicks. Just take your time, read the page, figure out how to maneuver and how to do stuff, and it'll be great. All right, you'll get a very good idea of what you should expect to see based on your elevation, how wide your field of view is, all of these things that determine what you see on the horizon, and then you can go out into the real world and compare that to what you actually see.
Also, I'd like to just add to what Lewis just said. It gives you a very tactile sense, like you can feel it, like you can manipulate this 3D model and move it around, and it gives you basically a way for another set of senses to kind of kick in and give you a sense of what's actually going on there.
And I haven't fiddled with this. They have a flat version of the world too.
Oh yeah, let me show you that. David, did you get that link?
Yeah, I just put Discord link forthcoming in the chat, in both chats, so you could find me. And
okay, hold on.
And while
you really got to make David a mod, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to. I just have to find him. Wait, where did you put it?
I'm Booleanator, by the way.
Oh, Booleanator.
That's me.
Well, you should have been a mod a long time ago.
So while he's doing that, you can do things on this model like enter the height of airplane cruising altitude, for example. Other specific altitudes that are common things for flat earthers to bring up. These are all things you can check on this model.
I'm presenting you, Lewis. Show us.
Oh shit.
Well, if your desktop isn't ready, I can.
It's not ready. I'll.
That Discord. Well, is it hard on my sleeves watching us right now? Because there's people bouncing back and forth between your 24/7 and this stream.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this is actually Lewis's Discord, which I think having one Discord for the Flat Earth debate and more is plenty.
It's not my Discord, but it's Gem Panda's Discord. But I am from that Discord as well.
No, that's where everybody who is anybody is at, including Soundly.
So, like here, I'm still presented. I'm assuming you can see the observer height here. So we could put in 37,000 feet for cruising altitude, and here you can see that the average field of view for a human is 114 degrees, but you're not going to get that in an airplane window. You're just not. You're going to get something more like
Well,
70.
a 50 millimeter is like a pretty good approximation of what your eye's going to see. Like
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. 50.
All right. So this is, much closer to what you would expect to see from 37,000 feet. And you can take this, slide it up and down, and you get a much better idea of how that horizon compares to an actual straight line, an actual parallel. Like I said, you can change your pan, and if you look at the world with the squares straight on, it starts to the way your eyes work. At least for me, it was a little bit tricky when you come down here. It looks flat, and then you can kind of lose your attention. I don't know. It's weird to explain it. Like I lose my attention span a little bit as I'm zooming in and out to like where it like right around here. My mind starts telling me, okay, that could be like a cylinder, and you don't really see the curve in the dimensions other than straight in front of you. So by panning and putting the squares this way, how it curves in every direction all the time becomes more apparent to me.
Yeah, I certainly see what you mean.
Another thing I think it's worth pointing out, which I was trying to do earlier and forgot, is that there's also a whole bunch of other observations that flat earthers have made and confusingly think that it proves the flat earth for some reason are in here. He has a Bedford level. He has Chicago. Transmission lines, obviously, Causeway. A whole bunch of things in there that you can look at. One of them's that mountain. What was it? No, I was reading your screen, Lewis.
Oh,
That's okay. I can pop over to his. Canigua? I don't even know how to pronounce it. But it's to do with some mountain range in France. And I think shortly, spoiler alert, Elsa Craig will be added to this at some point, which is something that Dell has been looking at.
Sly Sparkane had a stream yesterday where he introduced us to a really cool piece of software. It was more of a planetarium kind of thing. And now I can't seem to find it, even though I spent the time to install it. I forgot what it was called and everything. So forget I'm talking about this.
Nope, I'm not going to forget it. I'm going to go to Sly's channel.
I feel like we could go on forever here interacting with the chat. If I don't know.
Actually, it was Houseway that introduced it, but so if you could get with Houseway, he'll tell you if I can't find it.
Was it in the Just Because stream? Was that the virtual reality Google Earth?
Space Engine. Yeah, it's called Space Engine. That's what it's called. And this thing is it's like a gigabyte download. It's ginormous. And it lets you go to stellar objects and see all the planets that they found and all kinds of stuff. And it actually will improvise. If it doesn't know about an object, it will improvise stuff. So it's really cool.
Interesting. I just, now that you're bringing up astronomy, I am planning on, or trying to plan, a live stream of the eclipse on the 31st, the lunar eclipse.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You can see
I haven't had a chance to play with my new camera, with the HDMI out, but it's supposed to stream high definition. So I'm hoping that I can stream high definition live.
you can see the red line on the horizon of the Earth. Not the horizon, but the atmosphere.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. And I'll invite everybody to go over to Discord, where there's a constant chat going on 24/7, it seems like.
Yep, that's it's not mine. It's Gem Panda's. Debate Flat Earth and more. He may impose structure over there as he sees fit at any time, so be ready for that.
Yeah. Steve Anthony streams that out, doesn't he? On
Yes.
occasion.
Yes, I do as well. You'll see them. They're typically, the thumbnails are just asses.
It's a globe ass.
Yeah, that's right. It demonstrates how curvature suits the world.
You also read bedtime stories to flat earthers.
Oh, I mean, you could say that that's what they are. I think they're kind of meaty, but not in a gay way. But
You want to tell people about your channel, Lewis?
Sure. I don't really have a goal over there, but I do things that interest me. So I'll read books. I will walk away from the camera and put a Fluffy in the seat and walk away for 8 hours at a time. And so you'll just watch a chair. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you never know what you're gonna get.
Well, the chat is always fun.
The chat is usually fun. I ban lots of people, so don't expect to have a free voice over there.
Yeah. I usually try and leave my chat open as much as possible, especially in the 24/7 stream. So if you want to go over there and combat some globers, please show up.
Please.
And I do have a pretty strict rule of no banning unless you are doing hate speech, making love letters to Hitler, defamation. If you're just saying somebody's lying with no evidence, you're out. But besides that, it's pretty much wide open. So.
Oh, right. My channel name is the Backup Channel. That's what I stream on now. Spelled exactly like you would expect. I have another channel called Lewis Hackett, which is my name, spelled exactly like you'd expect. I know a lot of you flattars out there can't get it right. It's Louis.
Lewis, send a message in the chat, and I'll let you put a link in there.
They can't spell Lewis Hackett.
Oh, they do it on purpose. They do like Lois, Louise, whatever. So I'm in there. I'm the Backup Channel. As the message I put in there.
Yeah. All right, you have mod now. You can drop a link in there.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, fellas. It's been fun, and I will catch y'all later.
Excellent.
Bye. Oh, Walter's here. Hey, Walter. Watch the replay. You're a star in this one. We're shutting down now. Bye, guys.